movie with that. Okay, so for the inspirational movie of the weekend,
Okay.
have you ever heard of A Million Miles Away?
No.
Mic check
It's a
1 2.
True story
Okay.
about a migrant worker
Okay.
Mic check 1
who goes to space on one of the Discovery mission,
Oh, wow.
and his teacher.
We'll call the meeting to order this morning. Special called meeting July 14th, 2025 to discuss new school property acquisition options and some other related discussions as far as school sites and the buildings themselves. So Mr. Cole, we'll start with you.
Yeah, just real quick, while Mr. Smith he's gonna come up and take us through a presentation. I wanted to thank Mr. Barger and Mr. Gainey for their work. We've had a lot of meetings with property owners and that sort of thing, been working through with lawyers on purchase agreements. And it was certainly time for the full board to kind of get a more detailed presentation on where we are, and that's the purpose this morning, is to give the full board a more detailed presentation of where we are. Obviously, the board has already approved purchase agreements for a couple of different properties, but where we are now is with due diligence on both of those properties, so just kind of sort of where we are, but also looking at the impacts that this will have on other schools in our district, and nailing down exactly what our plan is going to be for these properties. So we really need to decide as a board which property we're going to use to build our first elementary school that we will need in this decade. And that'll be the primary focus of the day, but there are some related matters that I think need to be discussed as well to get a full picture. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Smith. And Mr. Smith, thank you for the time your team has put into this presentation this morning. We tried to keep it as simple as possible. Obviously, this is a big topic, so we really wanted to focus on, after we give a little background, just sort of the choices that we would like to be able to make as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you, and good morning. Mr. Cole said, we just want to give you an idea from, as far as a student ADM look at these options, a cost of these options, and the impact and progress of each land site and where they're at in the process, and hopefully we can answer those questions for you this morning. So the first page is probably the most important look, and that is the student ADM considerations that will take place with these options. So I basically took out all the scenarios that would include students, the fifth graders at Lincoln and Belleville, not being at Leland, because we know that's in progress, and frankly the numbers without that happening look pretty overcrowded no matter which way you do it. So we know that we're taking the steps to put this action in progress next year. And if we do that, so you've got 4 scenarios. You've got choosing 7 states to be your first school in 28, or choosing Jackie's Creek to be your first school in 28. And then scenarios 3 and 4 would be waiting until 29, which you may choose to do or may happen, regardless. So those are basically the 4 scenarios. And if you do that, all the school capacities for, if you had 4 schools and any of those sites are below 90%. That's kind of our target line. We know when things start getting tight is 90%. From 90 to 100, it gets tighter and tighter because we have rooms that are used for different resources, and everything's not black and white laid out on a map. So we know things start getting tough and teachers have to be moved around, rooms added and things at 90%. So that's kind of our warning light.
These capacity numbers are with the modulars calculated after we have moved potentially students to Lincoln Middle.
Leland Middle, yes, sir. All 4 of these scenarios would be with the 5th grade from Belleville and Lincoln moved to Leland Middle in 26-27.
What's the capacity at Belleville and Lincoln anticipated to be in August?
This year, the school capacity or the actual ADM numbers?
Or the ADM's fine, either one.
This year, we're currently, now you have to keep in mind at Belleville, we have an additional 200 capacity with the modulars being used. And I think we ended the year, Molly, at 730 around at Belleville, or?
At Belleville, no, they're projected for 870 this year.
This upcoming year,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So they were
Yeah, our capacity for that school is 724 plus 200 if you include the modulars, which we currently have a whole grade that we're using those for. The 5th grade at Belleville is being put in the modulars. So the total capacity with the modulars would be 924.
And enrollment is anticipated at what level
It's 870,
right now?
is what we're anticipating for 25-26.
And like I said, if we do not move the 5th grade next year, Belleville and Lincoln within 2 years are going to be over 100% capacity.
And you
that would
say
be
next year, you mean 2026?
26, 27,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And that would be,
Obviously, it's
even with the
27.
2 modulars we're putting at Lincoln this year and the current 10 modulars that we're using at Belleville. Within 2 years, they're both over 100%.
So, and so what are the comparable numbers? We just got 924 and the 870 for Belleville. What are the comparable numbers at Lincoln?
Projection is 736 for 25-26.
And what's the capacity?
Capacity there is, I've got it on the chart right here.
From the graph.
It must be about 750 based on.
It's 7 something.
Yeah, based on these numbers you got here.
Close.
500 puts you at 2/3 of your capacity, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have that on there. I'm old when I did, but I think the capacity at Lincoln is right around 750.
Right, okay.
So,
Well,
as I said, they're both gonna be over 100%.
And we were adding a modular there,
Two.
two
Yeah.
modulars there to get us through.
Yeah, we're in good shape this year at Belleville and Lincoln because of the modular capacity there. So we're okay this current upcoming year at all our north end schools.
As long as the projections
Oh,
hold.
Yeah, as long as we don't have an unforeseen 50, 60 student addition this year, that's not projected.
And we moved pre-K and all the itinerant EC out of Belleville, to Tom Creek because of the new addition
Yeah.
there.
Yep. Okay. So, hopefully if you look at this, you say, well, there's not a big difference between opening the school in 28 or opening the school in 29, because we're below 90% in either scenario. But Leland Middle School, and I'll show that on the next chart, if you look at it, Leland Middle School could easily go over capacity with those 5th graders by at least 29 to 30. You see the red line on the chart on page 2, and it goes up to right at the building capacity in 29 and 30 with those 5th graders. So that means that we've got a 3 to 4 year window with those 5th graders over there. And that's on the most recent demographer projections. So it would be beneficial to
You
have.
say a 3 to 4 year window. It sounded like you just said we have a 4-year window.
Yeah, that's at 100%. We're at 90% in 28, 29 there. We're at 100% by 2030, 30. We're over 100% in 30, 31. So somewhere between those 2 years, we're between 90 and growing over 100% there.
So we have at least 4 years before we reach capacity.
By projections, yes, sir.
But weren't the projections conservative? The
Yes.
demographer's projections were,
That's what he called it. His
Conservative.
words were conservative, and it went up from the 23 demographer report to the 24 demographer report. All the north end school projections did go up. So if you look at it that way, it would be beneficial to have a school in 28 to put those 5th graders back by 29 at the school. And then the other part on page 1, if you look at, that I thought was really key, was in 2029 by projections, we'll have at those 4 schools, that's all your K through 5 students, 2,808 students. So that would put us at 88% of our capacity for those 4 schools. But in the next 4 years, you're going to add 626 elementary students, which is a school. And you're going to go over 100%. You're at 98% in 2031. So if you get a school built in 28, then you can start the process of beginning the second school. Hopefully, would get it built by 30 or 31, and take care of that 98 and that 103% that you're adding quickly in those years. So there are advantages to opening a school in 28.
And what are those exactly?
The advantages?
Yeah.
Well, you could start your second school.
Why do we have to wait? I mean, why can't you have two schools running at the same time?
We can, and we built in 2009, we built Cedar Grove and Town Creek at the same time.
Okay.
If we have the funding in place for the second school. I think that's the key to our second school, and Sherry, right, is supplying the funding. However, by means we do that, by a bond or however that's done.
I don't love the whole fifth grade to middle school thing longer than we have to do it.
No, I don't either.
And modulars, I know modulars now are not the same as they were before, like, they're not construction trailers anymore, but it's still not a brick and mortar school, the safety mechanisms in those buildings are not the same.
Yeah, the modular addition that we put in 16 at Leland Middle
Yeah.
has been positive. It's still in good shape, and it's definitely done the job there
Yeah, but Ms.
for those
Smith, your
fifth
point,
graders.
tornado hasn't torn through there yet.
But I agree, it's
It's
not
temporary.
it's
They're
not a
temporary.
regular structure.
Yeah.
I would also say too, I'm not wild about running the line any more than we have to on capacity, because we don't know exactly how things are going to play out. You know, so to me, the conservative approach is building sooner. For example, at Union, last year we had, I think it was 53 kids over projection that we did not plan for. And that can very easily happen in the north in the next 3 years, several times. Maybe it doesn't, but I mean, when at Union, you went 50 kids over projection, obviously that could happen in the way that we're building in the north. So to me, a conservative approach would mean building sooner, so that if something like that does happen, we're prepared.
This can's been kicked down the road for too long, trying to acquire the properties. Now we have the properties, now the next step is,
Yeah.
let's start building schools.
And if we have the properties, of course, when we decide to build a second school, then we're probably talking 12 to 18 months for construction. So it's gonna happen a lot quicker now that we don't have to go through that process.
Correct.
When you just look at the projected numbers, like Town Creek, we opened the elementary, opened that, and already had to do an addition. I mean, that
Two
was, I
additions.
mean, yeah,
Right.
And they
and
opened
saying that's
Belleville.
not been.
And we didn't
already-
see it
That's
coming.
not been that
Yeah.
long.
And the demographer didn't see it coming, you're
Well,
right.
because every school we have built up to this point to manage the overcrowding, all that has done is picked up the extra kids. We haven't ever actually managed overcrowding or had space to grow into in any of these buildings.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we open the doors,
It just-
they're full.
Same with City
Well,
Grove.
and I think we have to think
That's
about
right.
these properties, once we announce, and we're definitely building schools at these properties, those properties are gonna sell faster, and there are gonna be more residences on those properties, and you're almost building a school for that community.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
and Hanson even kind of mentioned that, you know, over there where all those developments they're doing over there in Leland, they're just now getting ready to do another, you know, community meeting about something on Green Hill Road.
Yeah.
That's probably thousands of houses, so, again, we're not actually making any headway in generating more capacity because the people are coming as fast as we're building it right now.
That's right.
Well, if we know we're going to have to build anyway, why would we wait? What's the purpose of
And the
waiting?
cost is gonna go up.
It does.
I mean, what would be the purpose of waiting if
Well,
we
we've
know
been
we
told
have
all
to?
along it takes 3 years, it would take 3 years from closing the property to get a school open. And right now, it doesn't look like any of these closings fall within that 3-year window to open in August of 2028. So you're either gonna open during the middle of the school year, or you're gonna be effectively pushed back to August of 2029, based on all the things we've been told heretofore about what the timeline is from closing to closing on the property to opening the school. It's always been 3 years.
But if we commit to funding an architect right now and getting busy on master planning, then we could still make 28.
But you won't make it with Jackie's Creek, with Seven States.
No,
No, I agree.
and that gets to today's,
Jackie's Creek
Conversation.
is ahead of 7 states, and that's a key point to establish today.
When it sounds like the need is greater immediately, more at Belleville and Lincoln than it is in the area where Seven
Town
States
Creek.
would be located, right? So,
Okay, the next, page 3 shows the Leland Modular cost estimate at this time. We did just get the bid back. There were 4 bids. The low bid was 1.7 million for the building itself. These are the additional costs, included. Now, we did get word, Friday that they would want to go to a 2-tier bail schedule. So,
That's DOT.
Yeah.
Wants that.
I talked to Lloyd this morning, and he said that we could possibly pick those students up and drop them off on their current buses from Lincoln and Belleville. So that means we would not have to add buses. We could, we were gonna have to do 6 buses if we had them coming at their regular time. So if we do the elementary time, they could go to Lincoln, drop those kids off, then go to Leland and drop off the 5th graders. And that's not really an option. They're saying that it would increase traffic too much on Old Fayetteville Road, and they're not gonna let us do the same time for all students.
So you would still pick them up, would they ride the same bus or just do that bus a second?
They'd ride the same bus.
They'd ride the same bus and then drop.
Which is good because you don't have them riding with high school and middle school students, so the parents probably like that better.
Well, they're already, okay.
In other words,
Yeah.
the Lincoln and Belleville would run their normal bus routes.
And just
when
pick
the
up-
buses would go to Belleville and Lincoln, they would drop off the K-4 students.
Yeah. Right.
And then they would
And then
drive
just
to
go to
Leland
the-
Middle and drop off the 5th grade students. And then they do the same thing in the afternoon. Now, that will mean that our teachers, our 5th grade teachers at Leland Middle would be on a different schedule than all of the other teachers. It would extend the day for administration. But when we're talking about adding 250 5th graders to Leland Middle, we're gonna have to add an administrator anyway, to be able to supervise, an assistant principal to be able to supervise that 5th grade out there in the modulars.
so you could flex their hours.
So you could flex their
Right.
hours.
How much difference in the time would you be talking about as far as to start time?
You'd be
versus-
close to the elementary start time, which is 8:30,
5.
35. And I think you'd be give or take a few minutes from that start time.
So you wouldn't wanna do the earlier
Oh, I
high school,
see.
and you wouldn't wanna do it.
Yeah, and in the afternoon,
Earlier,
the same
just-
way. If you brought them at 8:25, then, 10 minutes before the afternoon elementary time, they'd be picked up, then you'd go pick up the K-4 student. It's gonna add those students riding from Lincoln and Belleville to Leland is what it's gonna add.
Right.
But that's how it could be done, and we wouldn't have to add buses and drivers, and that's a big plus.
Which really,
Well-
if they're on a little different time than the rest of the elementary school students, it really doesn't impact
Yeah.
much of
And
anything.
you gotta consider, they're all going to basically the same building. They're going out to the modular building.
Mhm.
They're not, going throughout the school, so.
And could you do the elementary earlier and then keep the middle at the same time? I mean, if you stack, you could still,
We could look at
Possibly
it
do
and
the elementary
you might
earlier.
vary it a few minutes, I think.
but then you could keep the middle
Make
school
it
the
fit.
same.
Right.
I
We
don't
keep
know.
the
I
middle
don't
school
know.
the
Because they
same.
run two routes.
Right. 'cause
I
if
mean, and
you
I
go back to
think,
7:35 for the high school.
I
mean,
think
that'd be too
parents,
early.
I think parents would like that as well, just because by the time the 5th graders got there, the middle school kids would be in class. So they would really be on separate schedules, and that's probably a good thing.
Right.
Okay, page 4, that shows the changes in the stacking lane and the queuing lane. If you look at the bus entrance to the left of the picture, it says access B. So that would be a new stacking lane that have to be put in the school and join the current stacking lane to get the traffic off of Old Fayetteville Road. And this is from MSTA DOT. Okay, the next page shows the Jackie's Creek.
Larry, hold on one second. Back to the additional stacking lane, the option B one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would be creating another road through that buffer there between Old Fayetteville Road and the school site, or the school, current
Yeah.
school building.
The wooded current area,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Now, we are responsible for costs on campus, and it's not reimbursable.
Right,
And the estimate for that stacking lane, we're looking at about $200,000 right now.
and then that would create a third driveway, right, because there's already two at that school, there's the bus entrance. Oh, no, so that's actually coming in on the bus entrance, right?
Yeah, you can see where the
Okay.
road just
Yeah,
starts to
okay.
curve and those trees will be out of the way.
Yeah, okay, so now I understand, I thought we were creating a third entrance, and
Yeah, it would be part of that entrance and immediately break off to the left,
so it would become just as confusing as all the other school campuses are.
basically, yes, sir.
It never fails, no matter what driveway I pull in, it's the wrong one.
Me too. And there's signs there, we just don't read
Yeah,
them.
it's, okay. All right, and that won't affect any of like the buffer, zoning buffer rules with the county or
No.
the city?
It's been looked at and
Okay.
they said we would be okay with this plan.
Okay,
And we are on track right now for 26, 27, everything's on time right now to have this project done, if we okay it and all those students moved over if needed. Okay, the next one is the purchase considerations, trying to look at side by side of any advantages. Of course, the 7 states property being less expensive would be their advantage. Jackie's Creek is off a major highway closer, so that's a little bit of an advantage for them. And according to what we've been told, Jackie's Creek would be willing to go to 10 years to actually have to build a school if we did not go there first. Is that-
7 years.
7
He
years,
did go 7.
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
5 to 7.
Yeah, and 7 states would not have a specific timeline for building. Other than that, everything is, I think, very similar to those two sites. The next page is the actual current estimate, and I talked to Doug Sherwood on Friday and made sure this was updated and current. This is the current cost for building a new elementary school, and the current estimate is $99,903,000. You might as well call it $100 million. Now, the only difference between those two sites is that I don't feel like 7 states would need to be a shelter school, and that's about 10% of the estimate because of the proximity to Town Creek Elementary School. I don't think you need 2 shelter schools that close together. I think you need more northern. We do not have anything past Town Creek as a shelter site, and those roads get cut off by flooding during heavy storms.
And while I agree with you, have we engaged EM and see what their opinion is of this and where they need shelters and their willingness to help us? I mean,
They're aware. We did meet with them last month, and they're
to
aware.
fortify a school and make it a shelter is a huge expense that I don't necessarily should
It
fall
is.
on the backs of only us.
And I think if we decide which school, we could take it to.
Well, I think they should be part of deciding which school, not us.
Well, they've already told, initially, we were only looking at one site, which was Jackie's Creek, and they had already told us that they wanted any school built on that site to be a shelter.
And what investment were they willing to make?
I haven't heard
That
anything
has
about
not
an
been
investment.
negotiated.
Because I would love to tell somebody what I want and I'm not paying for it, but that's not how the world works.
Well, and I just felt like we needed to
10% more.
choose a school and a site before we took that step and went to them. And, you know, we knew for sure where we were gonna build and that it was gonna be a shelter school.
That's where most of our population is.
I mean, it's not public money, I understand that, but I just,
Up there.
you know,
But,
we need a lot of schools. This board's job is to build schools and educate children. And so if that increases the cost
10%.
and makes it more difficult for us to build these additional facilities that we need, then somebody's gotta help one. Would you guys disagree?
No, I agree, 10% more, and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's to
I
serve
will-
all the families, not just our school
I think
families.
we need to engage David
Yeah.
McIntyre.
Okay.
Well, I'll start with Steve Stone.
Well, you gotta start Steve
Yeah.
Stone and
Yeah.
David
I mean, they don't have
McIntyre.
any, they don't have any authority to force us to do it, do
No,
No.
they do not.
And it's their shelters. We just provide it and we help with staffing, but it's their shelters. But I don't
Again,
think.
I'm not against it, you know, we wanna be good,
Right,
community
that's
stewards,
right.
but
Yeah.
And they're housing, those shelters house anybody in Brunswick
Our-
County who
could be our
needs it,
employees,
not
our
just our
students,
school,
yeah.
not just our school people.
And I don't think
so,
we need 2 shelters 5 miles apart.
no, I agree.
you know.
I just wanna make sure
we
we're
need one
engaging the
more
right
toward the
people.
northern end, and we don't incur that expense twice.
But you're exactly right in that, providing hurricane shelters for the populace is not within our mission.
Right.
That's the county's mission, so.
We're always happy to help.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm not against partnering with them.
And we hope
but
they're happy to help
Come to the
pay,
table.
pay for it.
Okay, and the next 3 pages are what I think everyone's familiar with. The first one is just a look at the current schools and the 2 new school sites and the proximity to each. With a breakdown on the next page of the Jackie's Creek property, it also shows the additional property on the other side that they have offered for us to purchase, future considerations. And the 7 states on the next page shows the 7 states north and a potential at the southern end of that property for what we've been calling 7 states south that we looked at. It does not look like it would be a good site for a second elementary school because it increases the driving distance greatly. And basically, I think the advantage for Jackie's Creek immediately is that that's where the students are. You know, that's where current population is. 7 states, when the Malmo Creek area develops and all those planned areas around there develop, I think that will continue to grow toward that property. And of course, they're gonna sell residential areas once the school's announced on that property. But I think immediately it does increase driving time, and that was proven by the demographic study. If we go with 7 states first, you know, Jackie's Creek is more of an immediate need.
So we still want, basically we're talking about 4 parcels here. There's 2 at Jackie's Creek. There's 1 in an option. Here it's 1 in an option as well.
Yeah, and they've told us at 7 states, you know, of course, we can have whatever we choose and wanted to carve out.
Right. So we already know our preferred site at Jackie's Creek because that's what we're under contract for. Also, for 7 states, we're under contract for the north one.
Right.
Are we saying we're not interested in the options now, or we're still interested in the
I
options?
think down, and I'll let Mr. Cole.
We know that, well, first of all, that north 7 state site, it would be my recommendation that that would be the location of our second elementary school.
Okay.
It will take longer, I think, for the development to reach 7 states south. That's what the data says as well. However, we can still get that property at a really good price. And I would advise the board that it is worth the money to invest now and get it while you can. I mean, obviously, there's a big difference between the cost per acre at Jackie's Creek and the cost per acre at 7 states north. And the reason why is because 1, the proximity to Highway 17, and 2, because at Jackie's Creek, people already live there. 7 states north is in the development phase. So that's the reason why we can get it at a cheaper price. If you wait until the development happens, the land will be much more expensive. And so we have a chance to get in on that 7 states south. Go ahead and buy it at a much cheaper price. I think that building a school at that site is probably 15 years down the road.
On
If
the
not,
south side.
on the south side. But if you get it now, you can get it a whole lot cheaper than if you wait.
How long does our option run on that property? Are you suggesting we try to buy it prior to closing our option?
No, not 7 states south.
Okay, well, that's not now.
Correct. We have some time to wait on that. I was asked the question about that site. Do we, should the board still consider buying it? And I think you should. The best site, we also are gonna need to build
We should
up.
push it back as long as we can,
Sure,
with, assuming that there's no, it doesn't compromise our price or.
correct.
And-
As long as it
and the
doesn't.
option runs for what? Is it 3 years? How long does it run out?
I think it's 3
I
years,
think
but,
it's 3, yeah.
And it's at the same price, there's no premium, no increase, it's at the same price we're paying today.
correct. And no requirement to build in any certain amount of time. Now, we know that we are also gonna need to build a high school. So we had the demographer run a study on, was 7 states south a viable location for this high school that we need to build? And we could build it there, but it's by far not the best site. By far the best site is that option parcel at Jackie's Creek that's across the power line.
What about a middle school? Is there gonna be?
Well, we have the
need
most
for-
capacity right now at our middle schools. So it's gonna be quite some time before we need to add a middle school.
Okay.
But
Only
when
middle
we,
school
but when
that's
we,
heard at would be Leland.
Right.
And if we do the modular there, it buys us plenty of capacity for several years.
but that Seven States North site is 73 acres. So that's enough to build an elementary and a middle school. Unless the county decides that they wanna take 20 acres and build a recreation site there, or not take, but buy
Yes.
from us and build a recreation site of some
I
kind.
know, they wanna take it.
You know, so we would have options if we, you know, really, this board is gonna be involved in buying land parcels, for the next 10 years. You're gonna have to in order to be prepared, I think, for the development that the demographer says is coming.
Yeah.
Just in different parts of the county. But we're a lot closer than we were.
Well, that's how we've gotten here with no school so far, is because we didn't have the land, which is
Right.
why it's so important for us to acquire it.
Right. And then once you've acquired the land, you know where you're gonna build your schools, it's a much quicker process.
Okay. The next page, I put our current due diligence expenses, which are very minimal. We currently, pretty much like the last update, we only have programming money, a couple of small surveys, $106,700. This does not include the current attorney fees that they will be billed as part of closing settlement. They were not available to us. So whatever that is, plus the attorney fees, is the amount of money we had if we decided to walk away.
From
Check.
which side?
Pretty much for either side, because programming is for either side.
No. So
So
the appraisal,
appraisal we
environmental
did-
phase one, and the program, this is
We
the
did that.
totality of the 7 states and Jackie's Creek, or each one is gonna have these expenses?
Yeah, we did those at Jackie's Creek.
Okay.
I talked to Jerry Manning about a month ago about his billing, and he gave me an estimated cost of $10,000 to $12,000 a month ago. So I would say probably $15,000 is probably where he is based on that.
Yeah, so, and like I said, the programming goes for either school, so we really have very
So
little,
it's really not due diligence.
very little cost
For either.
involved. Correct.
So we're at 3,500, 3,200, and 15,000 ballpark.
Yes.
So what due diligence remains for Jackie's Creek prior to closing? We haven't done the title work.
Right, and, Sherry, I don't know if there's any parts you wanna add, but, I guess the biggest thing is the driveway permit.
No, on what, our due diligence. What tests, what analysis, what evaluations do we still have to
Well,
make prior to?
We'd like to do the topography and the geotechnics, and that's basically what the next page is what we'd be asking for.
But that's not part of our due diligence, really. Our due diligence is to define, is
Well,
this
the title,
property worth
yeah.
what we're paying for?
Right.
The topo
We've
and,
done the comps.
the topo and the, you know.
But we've done the comps.
So have we run all our tests?
We
Do we
haven't.
have to do any more environmental tests? Do we have to do any more surface,
Not required as part of due diligence.
okay.
We will, as we
Do we know
purchase
at-
the land.
Are we gonna be able to, I mean, we have a report that shows that there's some conditions there that have to be mitigated.
Right.
Do we know yet what cost of that mitigation is gonna be?
I talked to Doug about that, and that would have to be determined. Craig had put together an estimate. I think he had it around 800,000, but, you know, I wouldn't put a hard figure on that. He just did the best he could and talked with people, but we haven't
Yeah.
hired anyone to look at it. And that would be part of the Seymour involvement and the master plan as we went through that.
And one of those options, Mr. Gainey was just asking about, increase the timeline too, because surcharging takes more time.
Yeah,
But
it
that option's
does.
off the table.
Doug estimated it
If you're trying to.
Friday when I spoke with him and I asked that specific question. He estimated it, you know, probably 2 to 3 months. The other buildings that have been put in place on that end that have had the same issue, all of them, and they use the aggregate pilings, which is not as long as the surcharging. So I would lean toward that's probably what would happen, but until we do a geotech and get a master plan and hire someone to look at this and break it down by layers. No one knows for sure.
Do we know for sure that is an option on this property, the geotech, the aggregate pilings?
No, not until it's layered out and looked at, could someone have to tell us. And we haven't hired anyone to do that. We just looked at all the other properties, as you know, and it's been on every other major piece of property there, so we're counting on it.
Okay.
And the same thing could happen in 7 states. They just hadn't had as many properties built on, in that area for comparison. So if we decided to try to do a school in 28 and to make progress as rapidly as possible, we would recommend that we approve $314,600, an estimated $75,000 for topography, $30,000 for a geotech, which would tell us a lot about the soil, the rock, and the layers, and $209,600 to Sherwood and Associates to get them starting on the master plan. As part of the driveway permit for Jackie's Creek, we've had an issue because we don't have a site plan as part of a master plan. And so we couldn't take an accurate description of the entrance off from the access road for that property. So Craig took the Town Creek entrance, that most recent one we did, that kind of fits the model, and he had it kind of superimposed on a drawing and submitted it to MSTA for approval, which they kind of agreed to do on a temporary basis, but they will not issue a final driveway permit and approval unless we had the accurate drawings there.
So the geotech that you just quoted, the 30,000, how long is it going to take to get that done?
I think within 6 to 8 weeks, you have to get on their list. That's what I understand, and they just kind of put you in order. They stay pretty busy. But most of the time, Craig had said they could start within 6 to 8 weeks by their current schedule, was the last he told me.
So the results of this geotech
Probably wouldn't be
survey-
available till close to closing. If you started in 6 to 8 weeks, closing September 1st, then that would put you very close to that before we probably got the results.
Okay. And you have to have this before you can start the site plan, because you don't even know exactly where your site's gonna be until you've done
Right.
this.
Right, and they pick out the best option of the land.
Okay.
But we're talking about a large area, so we really have no idea what part of that site is gonna be most suitable.
Right. Craig looked at it with his best know-how and guess, and he had it close to the dividing road, Wire Road, kind of in the middle and kind of bordering the Wire Road. He thought that was the best upland site for the largest potential acreage. But, you know,
But we have no idea
that's not his
what's under the
specialty.
ground.
That's not his specialty.
Well, we
It
do
is-
have some
it would have to
idea,
be
they have
determined.
done some tests. And we
But
do-
not, I don't think enough to confirm what Craig, and I value Craig's opinion.
Right, but-
Craig was a smart guy and he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't have all the information either.
Right. That's not his expertise. We asked him to do it. He did the best he could. with
Yeah,
it.
and I
Yeah.
appreciate that, I just,
But no, it's not final. It's not definite. Okay, and the last page would kind of be upcoming expenses once we make a decision to move forward. Your schematic design work, which we would like to get a CMAR in place before we did that. If we decided to go with a master plan and a contract architect, we would put out an RFQ for a CMAR, construction manager at risk. And by the time Doug got done with the master plan and got to schematic design, we would love to have that CMAR in place, because of course he's going to be integrating those designs. And that cost, schematic is about $630,000, and the CMAR is about $500,000. And this is all included in the total cost of the school, of course. All right, I hope that gives some valuable information.
Do you know what the timeline is on the topo?
No,
Didn't they tell us
I
Like
think
they
he
could
said
get-
about the same, as around 6 to 8 weeks. That's normal waiting time.
So
to
the
get started.
topo and the geotech are gonna have to be done before we can do the site plan.
Right, and that's gonna be tight.
What is gonna be tight to get those
To get
two
the
things
results.
done prior to the closing date?
It would be extreme, yes.
Yeah.
And Doug, I mean, if we had contracted him and hired the architect and got him under contract, he couldn't start immediately. He has to hire consultants, and they're not just sitting by waiting to be called and start work. He's gonna have to go out and find those consultants and hire them. That process is gonna probably take another month too.
And the outside closing date is November the 15th or something?
Yes,
What
sir,
is it?
60 days after.
Huh?
60 days after September 1st, right, November.
The due diligence closes in September.
Right. And then the outside closing date, I think we got another 60 days. So
Is-
put it in November.
This is November the 15th. And so, and then the developer, or the seller, has 36 months in which to complete his deliverables, the utilities. The road. And the road, which puts us in November of 2028.
Yes, sir. Very tight right now. And any kind of setback
Well, I mean-
would throw us off.
And that's also subject to force majeure events, so, you know, think.
But it's also, if we do have to do some mitigation on the site, which we likely will, depending on how we do that mitigation and how long it takes, that could possibly push the time back as well. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a question we don't have an answer to
Surcharge and
right now.
estimate would be probably 3 or 4 months.
It just doesn't seem to me like it's practical to even think that we're gonna be able to open the school in August of 2028. And I don't know why we would be so, you know, just, you know, everything just driving that kind of date when we have very good reasons right now that tell us that that's probably not gonna be achievable. I mean, is it optimal to open a school? Is it worth that, you know, moving forward and saying we're going for August of 2028? Is there something worth that message that justifies opening a school in the middle of the year versus opening the school in August of 2029?
I mean, I've opened a school in the middle of the year. It's very doable, and.
I'm saying what's optimal.
What's optimal?
Yes.
I mean, I would say the beginning of the year would be optimal, but,
Okay. So
According to
that's
however
my
crowded
question
you are.
is, what,
Right.
what is, if the 2029 is optimal and preferred over opening it in January of 2029, if August of 2029 is preferred, and I would think it would probably be strongly preferred to open in August of 2029 over January of 2028, of 2029. What is there in the possibility, which is appearing less and less likely all the time, what is there in the possibility or the hope of opening in 2028?
because
That would warrant opening in January of 2029. I don't see it doesn't seem balanced to me.
it's risk reward. I mean, you're basing that assumption on numbers that our own demographer says are very, very conservative. And so, yes, if things work out exactly the way he's saying they are, then opening in 29 will work. And you could do it at the beginning of the year, but if developments go faster and enrollment grows faster than he is projecting that they will,
So he's given us, and here again, on this conservative thing, when I hear that his numbers are conservative, I'm thinking that these numbers are solid.
no.
Why
What he
would he
meant-
give us numbers that aren't as solid as he can deliver? I don't understand.
He can predict all of the developments.
I understand that he doesn't have a crystal ball,
Yeah.
but you know, when you're projecting things in a conservative manner, typically you're better off than you would be in a non-conservative way. I'm not getting the language here, I guess.
Well, the way he explained his own language when he gave his presentation was conservative meant he thought it was actually gonna be more. But he was giving us a conservative estimate in that
And
he
there's a
was
lot of
kind of,
variables.
he was kind of backing off on, he felt like it was gonna, the county was gonna grow faster, particularly in the north. That's how he explained it.
Okay.
I agree with you. In my way of thinking, conservative would be make the numbers higher, but that's not the way he explained it. So, my point is that, to me, the risk reward of moving sooner rather than later is that it gives us a better chance of not ending up way over capacity before we have a school built. I mean, that's what I'm looking
I
at.
haven't heard anything other than, unknown variables. I haven't heard anything that really makes it appear that we're gonna be over capacity.
I mean,
Nothing in the numbers that our, demographer have given us, and nothing in our projections on here make it appear that we're gonna be over capacity until after 2029.
We're only over
But-
capacity at Belleville already.
yeah,
counting-
we're already over
Yeah.
capacity at Belleville.
We're over
And
capacity for the school proper, but we're not over capacity for all of the square footage that's available on that piece of property.
Mhm. But again, he said that was a conservative estimate of those numbers. We didn't project that Lincoln was gonna have, that Union was gonna have 53 extra students last year, but they did. And so, I'm just saying that the gap here, there is going to be a Jackie's Creek development. That they're gonna get a driveway permit.
Yeah.
Like, all of this is
I
going to
agree.
happen.
Right.
And so, why would we wait when we could move
I mean,
now?
I don't think we wait. We move with measured, proper, at a measured and proper pace as soon as possible. Understanding that following a measured and circumspect approach is gonna put us at August of 2029. Rushing it is gonna put us maybe in August of 2028.
Unless the enrollment grows faster than it's projected, or unless something happens where, we have to do a lot of mitigation on the property and it
it's
takes a
still-
lot longer.
That's two different things.
Mhm.
I mean, you have a reasonable, circumspect approach to a major construction project. Or you have a, let's ram this thing through as quickly as we might be able to. Which is what is sort of the way the scenario could be described as I'm hearing it. Because we're not gonna have, based on our contract and what the seller's obligation is to us, there's no reason to think that we're gonna have the utilities and the road to the property until the end of 2028. And it could go past that. So if we aren't gonna be able to even access the site with buses and students until the end of 2028, that's what the most likely scenario appears to be with our contract, then why are we sitting here even talking about opening in August of 2028?
Because it's possible. And it's sooner.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, we can still move towards that.
But are we though?
Yeah, but to say, you know, it just seems like we're putting all our eggs in this basket of August of 2028. You know, people make mistakes when they really, you make mistakes when you
Mhm.
have a deadline that's, some might say is unreasonable.
Wouldn't we call it tentative?
I would be, if we wanna say 2029, fine with me as long as we move. And then if we open sooner, great.
Nobody's talking about delaying the move.
Or delaying the funding for
It would
moving.
require
Or,
funding.
you know, I mean, I think we come out here today, if we decide that we're gonna move first on Jackie's Creek and we get a topo ordered and we get a geotech ordered and we tell them that we need it back in, you know, by September to whatever we need it back by.
Right.
You know, can you do it by then? If you can't, then maybe we need to see if we can find somebody else. But I'm just saying, we do that, yeah. I'm not saying we delay.
Well, I think the big question here is, are we going to approve the architect?
Master plan.
The master.
Right,
Cause you can't do anything without that.
right, because if he gets the information, but he is not under contract, and he hasn't even hired any consultants, then that's gonna be another.
But he can't do the master plan until he has the geotech, this additional.
Well, until he hires consultants also.
Well, that's the thing, he doesn't have people sitting around waiting to get to work.
Right.
He's gonna have to have a process where he
That would
has to
give him time
interview and
to
hire
build his
people.
staff for the project.
There's some lag time between us signing him to a contract, giving him a budget, and him being able to hire the people that he needs to do to start work. And that's the thing, is that, yeah, if he just had people waiting to get to work, we could do the topo and the geo, and then when we got that back, then we could sign him to a contract, and if he could immediately get to work, that would work out, but that's not, then there would be the lag of him trying to hire people before he could get to work, to get started on master planning.
Yeah, but
That's the-
aren't we gonna be able to tell the engineer that we've ordered a topo, and we're gonna have it back middle of September? I mean, he can't start anything until then, correct?
The architect,
Oh, yeah.
But he's not gonna hire staff
but he,
until
yeah, he's not gonna
got
commit
funding.
that kind of money.
So what I don't understand, you're talking about a site plan, someone just said something about a site plan.
Master
It's
plan,
part of
site
the
plan.
master plan.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what we're talking about.
Master
It's
plan.
getting to
Are those
work on
the same
that.
thing?
Yes.
Site
Okay.
plan is part of the master plan.
How can he get to work on that without a topo?
He can
He
start
can start
hiring
hiring his
people.
people, correct.
Okay. But he still can't get to work on it until we give it to him.
Correct.
Right, and so we can tell him today, we've ordered it, we're gonna have it ready to go in 2 months. And he can start hiring his people, right?
No, he will not do that until we fund him.
Until what?
We fund him.
Oh, until we fund it.
Till we get him under contract.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
why don't
thought
we
you were
get him under
talking about
contract?
not-
Which is part of that.
Okay.
Well, that's the,
Which is
That's
part
the
of
question.
That's
Which is
the-
part of the.
that's the,
package.
I thought you were
here.
talking about to get him to start the work.
Right.
well, to me, posting jobs and doing interviews and selecting people,
Staff.
that is
Yeah.
getting to work. But that's he's gotta pay his people to run
I got
those
you.
interviews. and-
I understand what you're talking
Ms. Cook,
Mhm.
do you have an opinion? You haven't said it much.
Well, I think he did say that under, the plan that he had projected, that it was possible to do it in get it done by 2028, opening school year. So in my mind, if we have everything ready to go, it seems like take the risk, like you say, it's a risk. Everything's a
Right.
risk. I mean, we could have a hurricane in the middle of it and shut it down for 4 or 5
Could.
months. There's no way to know. But if we don't start, then we're gonna postpone even what could happen in 2029. I mean, we may not get placed, well, gosh, we did have a hurricane for 4 or 5 months. Not saying that we will, but I mean, you don't ever know. And the CMAR, they're the ones that are gonna keep it going as well. I didn't understand that until years ago, and I'm like, that's a very important part of the,
He's
construction,
the
having
one that will
that
integrate
risk
the
manager,
plan.
because they can really help out, but I don't see why we wouldn't. The need is not gonna change. The need is gonna be there regardless whether we open 2028 or 2029. But to me, it's like if I wanna move into my house, and I'm like, well, I can wait and start in a couple yeah, maybe I could wait and, no, price is gonna go up. I mean, the prices are, they're
Who's
not
talking
gonna.
about waiting?
No, I'm not, well, I don't know, I'm just saying that this is just what, I feel like we need to move on
Step one
and
is.
begin
Well, so,
the process.
Funding approval.
So we
Yeah.
need to fund we need to fund the geotech and the topo.
You gotta get a title done too.
But didn't you say we had to hire somebody before we could do any of that?
I haven't done the title.
The architect, the 209 that's in there for master planning architect, that would allow him to start hiring his staff.
Do we need to vote to approve the title work, or is that not already in part of what we were planning on for?
I'm sorry, the title work?
Yeah,
No,
Mr.
we don't
Lee.
have to vote for that, I don't think, we just.
it's just part of the.
No, so that's already in the works.
So we need to hire
So-
somebody.
It hasn't been done though. I'm saying, I don't think until we know that the title is good, I mean, I don't think there's any issue with the title, but until we have an attorney says, yeah, they can deliver marketable
Who
title.
are we using for that?
Using Jerry.
We're using Jerry's.
So until we have that, we don't wanna, you know, how much is it gonna cost with the, I mean, I don't think you don't send the architect the multi-$100,000 check prior to having the title work done. I mean, it's just, I mean, the title work, that's just basically, you know, dotting your
Yeah,
I's
again,
and
that,
just-
crossing
that's
your
part of
T's.
that's not gonna be.
That's part of a contract.
That's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
We
but
can
you
get.
but you have to do that
Sure.
first.
So if we stipulate that we get the title work done with Jerry, what I would like to see is that, we had a conversation with, the Jackie's Creek developers, about an amendment to the contract. They, offered to, amend the purchase agreement for Jackie's Creek, with two changes. One being moving their 5-year requirement that, we build a school there within the next 5 years to 7 years, to give us a little breathing room, just in case some things happen, that we're not planning on. And then dropping all of their, rights to terminate. So, in the interest of, trying to move forward as quickly as possible, it'd be my recommendation that we, approve that amendment, that the board select Jackie's Creek as the site for the first elementary school that we're gonna need to build in the north. And that we fund, the 500, that we need for the topo, geo, and, getting the architect going on master planning. That gives us the best chance moving forward of, opening a school as soon as possible at Jackie's Creek.
Also, if I can interject.
Ms. Moffitt.
Historically, yes, this is Ms. Moffitt. Every time we have, numbers ran for like the growth of our area, it's always more than what they say. If Mr. Barger could back me on that, I mean, historically, since you and I have been on the board,
Yes, ma'am.
the numbers are always greater. So, moving forward as quickly as possible, with measure, doing all of our due diligence is what I think we should do. Instead of kicking the can down the road, we need to move quickly with getting everything ready. And I hope it is 2028. I hope it is possible that we can do 2028.
Well, Ms. Moffitt, I still go back to that meeting. I think you and I were the only ones on the board that are here now. When one of it might have been Cropper, who said that on this date next year, you're gonna have this many kids at Town Creek, and we had it that day. I remember looking at Molly, she said, oh yeah, we have that today. So Ms.
Right.
Ms. Moffitt is exactly right. With the numbers have, I don't disagree with Mr. Gainey. I don't like the way they do it. Their conservative estimates are a lower number instead of conservatively estimating higher. But we've had two different demographers do the same thing.
And he told us that that was just based on the number of
Yeah.
developments that he thinks will occur, but he has no evidence to back it that they will, so he can't put it in the report. But he thinks that different areas will continue to pop up and be approved.
Board members, if you don't have any more questions for Mr. Smith, I think we need two motions potentially. The first one is selecting which site is going to be the preferred primary site moving forward for the first, and, for a point of clarification, we are not walking away from either site. We are simply saying which one we're going to break ground on first, because we got to get a school erected.
Well, the master plan depends on a site selection.
Right, but what I'm saying is whatever site is selected as the preferred one today to build on first is not washing the other site.
Well, yeah, and I guess I'll throw in and just be clear here that, again, our projections show that even opening a new elementary school at Jackie's Creek, we're gonna be back at over 90% capacity, in the north end. I think it was about 2031. So I mean, pretty much when we open Jackie's Creek, if not sooner, we're gonna have to be working on a second elementary
Right.
school. So,
And the only other property we own
is that.
is the other one. All right, so, first I'm gonna ask for a motion to select the, preferred site for the first school to be erected.
I make a motion, we select Jackie's Creek.
Ms. Smith
That's
has,
the first.
made a motion to select Jackie's Creek as the first school to be built.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cook. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then, does anybody want to make a motion on approving, if we can go back to the previous slide here, Tori, please. This is the ask for today, right?
Yes.
Okay, so does any of the board members want to make a motion, either for this whole request or a portion of the request, moving forward? Mr. Gaines pointed out that obviously the title work needs to be done, which is not part of this, but is already funded through our attorney. So basically, from what I've heard today, there's two options here. One is approving just topo and geotech. The other option is approving all three.
I'll make a motion, subject to a title opinion by the attorney. I move that we approve the cost estimates for the topo, geotech, and master plan.
All right, Mr. Gaines made a motion to approve, subject to the outcome of the title work from Jerry Mannon, to approve all three of these requests today, the topo, the geotech, and the master planning, totaling $314,600. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Second by Ms. Cook. All in favor say aye.
Do we make?
That's not
need to
like-
make
Hey,
a
Robin,
motion?
I didn't hear you, Robin. Did you chime in there?
I'll get you the.
I did, I'm trying
Aye,
to,
okay.
I'll get you the updated
What about the
estimates on the
amend-
timeframe for
That's
those
something like
two
that.
surveys as soon as possible.
That's the
Yeah.
amendment.
Also, board members, I'm gonna ask for a third motion here, for the amended contract with Jackie's Creek, moving the, requirement to build a school within 5 years. We're going to amend the contract to extend that to a 7-year. If I can have a motion to modify that.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cook,
Second.
second by Ms. Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And, also, we have a request for closed session today, which is on the agenda as well, so I can have a motion to go to closed session.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cook,
Second.
second by Ms. Smith. All in favor say aye. Back to order. There is no action to be taken from closed session, so if I can have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cook,
Second?
second by Ms. Smith, all heard say aye.